The child's fist struck the door like a dying heartbeat. Marcus Cole tore it open and caught a 7-year-old girl as she collapsed into his arms, her skin blue, her lips cracked ice crystals frozen to her eyelashes. Storm. His German shepherd pressed against her trembling body. The girl's fingers clutched Marcus's sleeve with her last strength. Her voice was barely a whisper, but it shattered every wall he had built around his broken heart. "Please, save my mom. The bad men, they took her under the mountain." Before we continue, tell me where you're watching from. Subscribe and stay until the end. This story will change you. Marcus Cole had not spoken to another human being in 43 days. He counted them. Every sunrise, every sunset. 43 days of silence, broken only by Storm's breathing and the endless howling of Cascade Mountain winds. The German shepherd lay near the wood stove, his black and tan coat rising and falling in peaceful rhythm. A jagged scar crossed his left ear, a permanent reminder of the night that had destroyed everything Marcus once believed about heroism and survival. Marcus sat at the wooden table, a satellite phone in front of him. He had not turned it on in 3 weeks. "You should call someone," his therapist had said during their last session. "Isolation feeds the darkness, Marcus." He had nodded. He had lied. The truth was simpler and more terrible. Marcus Cole did not want to be saved. He had come to this mountain to disappear. Storm lifted his head, suddenly ears rotating toward the door. Marcus noticed, but did not react. The dog often heard things in the storm, branches breaking, trees groaning under snow weight, the mountain speaking in its ancient language. But Storm did not settle back down. The dog rose to his feet, muscles tensed beneath his thick coat. A low growl vibrated from his chest. "Easy, boy." Marcus reached for his coffee. "Just the wind." Storm ignored him. The dog moved toward the door with deliberate steps, head low, ears pinned forward. Another growl, deeper this time. Marcus set down the cup. In 6 years of partnership through 3 combat deployments and 1 devastating tragedy, Storm had never been wrong. The dog's instincts had saved Marcus's life more times than he could count. If Storm sensed danger, danger existed. Marcus pushed back his chair. He crossed to the door in 3 strides and pressed his ear against the cold wood. Nothing. Only the shriek of wind through pine branches. Storm scratched the door. Once. Twice. His growl became urgent whining. Marcus unlatched the deadbolt. The wind hit him like a physical assault, driving ice crystals into his face. The temperature had dropped below 0. Visibility was maybe 10 feet. The worst blizzard in 30 years, according to the Weather Service. He saw nothing. "Storm, there's nothing." Then his eyes adjusted. A shape in the white chaos. Small, moving, stumbling. A child. Marcus lunged forward as the small figure collapsed face first into the snow, not 10 feet from his porch. He reached her in seconds, dropping to his knees, turning her over. A girl, maybe 7 years old. Blonde hair plastered to her face with ice, lips blue, skin the color of ash. She wore a torn purple winter coat, the stuffing escaping through ripped seams. No hat, no gloves. Pink boots split at the soles. Hey, can you hear me?" Her eyelids fluttered. Her mouth moved, but produced no sound. Marcus scooped her into his arms and ran for the cabin. Storm raced ahead, already through the door. Inside, Marcus kicked the door shut and carried the girl to the couch near the stove. She weighed nothing. 40 pounds of frozen bones and desperate heartbeats. Stay with me, sweetheart. Stay with me. He stripped off her soaked coat with practiced hands. Battlefield triage. Hypothermia protocol. Remove wet clothing. Gradual warming. Monitor breathing. Storm pressed his body against the child's legs, providing heat, his dark eyes fixed on her face with intensity that bordered on human. The girl's fingers twitched. Her eyes opened halfway unfocused, swimming with tears. Mama! You're safe now. Marcus grabbed blankets from the shelf. You're safe. I've got you. Please. The word came out broken, jagged with cold and terror. Her small hand found his wrist and gripped with surprising strength. Please, save my mom. Marcus froze. What did you say? The bad men. Tears spilled down her frozen cheeks. They took her. Under the mountain. Please, you have to help her. Her eyes rolled back. Her grip went slack. Marcus checked her pulse. Weak, but present. Breathing shallow, but steady. She had slipped into unconsciousness, her body shutting down to survive. He worked for the next hour in grim silence. Warming blankets, heated water bottles wrapped in cloth placed under her arms and between her legs. Careful monitoring for frostbite. Her fingers showed early signs. Her toes were worse. Storm never left her side. Somewhere around midnight, the girl's shivering intensified. A good sign. Her body was fighting to warm itself. Marcus sat in the chair across from her, watching her breathe. Save my mom. The bad men took her under the mountain. He should call someone. Search and rescue. Sheriff's department. Someone equipped to handle this. His satellite phone sat on the table where he had left it. He did not move. The girl began to whimper in her sleep. Small sounds of fear that cut through Marcus like broken glass. No. No, don't hurt her. Mama! Mama! She bolted upright, screaming arms swinging at phantoms only she could see. Marcus was beside her instantly. Hey. You're okay. You're safe. Look at me. Wild blue eyes found his face. Terror gave way to confusion. Confusion melted into desperate hope. You're real. I'm real. My name is Marcus. You're in my cabin. You're safe. She looked at Storm, who had pressed closer during her nightmare. The dog's tail wagged once, gentle and reassuring. Is that your dog? His name is Storm. He found you in the blizzard. The girl reached out with trembling fingers and touched Storm's scarred ear. The dog leaned into her palm. He's warm. He likes you. Marcus kept his voice soft. Can you tell me your name? Emma. Her voice cracked. Emma Walsh. Okay, Emma. How old are you? 7. I'll be 8 in March. Marcus studied her face. The fear had not left her eyes, but something else was there now. Determination. A steel core that should not exist in a child so young. Emma, where did you come from? How did you end up in the storm? Her small body tensed. She looked toward the door as if expecting monsters to break through. They'll come looking for me. Who will come looking? The bad men. She turned back to Marcus. I ran away. Mama told me to run. She said find help. She said find someone who can fight. Marcus felt the words hit him like bullets. Your mom told you to run. Emma nodded. She's been planning it for weeks, waiting for the right moment. Tonight Mr. Victor's men were drinking. The storm was bad. She said nobody would be watching. Mr. Victor. He's the boss. He's very scary. Emma's voice dropped to a whisper. He hurts people who try to escape. He hurt Mama real bad last time she tried. Marcus's hands curled into fists. Emma, I need you to tell me everything. Where is your mom right now? The camp. Emma wiped her nose with her blanket. It looks like a logging place, but it's not. There are guards everywhere. Dogs. Fences. How many guards? I don't know, maybe 20, 30. They take shifts. Marcus processed this. Military-level organization. Armed personnel. Fixed location. You said under the mountain. What did you mean? Emma's eyes widened. The mine. There's an old mine behind the camp. That's where they keep the others. Others, women, girls. Some are young like me. Some are older. Her voice trembled. They put them in trucks sometimes. At night, the trucks go into the mine and don't come back for a long time. Marcus felt his stomach drop. He had spent 18 years as a Navy SEAL. He had seen the worst humanity could produce. He recognized what Emma was describing. Human trafficking. Operating right here, hidden in the Cascade Mountains. Emma, how long have you and your mom been at the camp? 8 months, maybe longer. I stopped counting. She pulled the blanket tighter. Mama was a nurse. We lived in Seattle. One day men grabbed us from a parking garage. I woke up at the camp. Nobody came looking for you, police family. Emma shook her head. Mama said Mr. Victor has friends. Important friends. He makes people disappear. The wind screamed against the cabin walls. The fire crackled in the stove. Storm lifted his head and licked Emma's hand. Marcus stood and walked to the window. He should call this in. Let the authorities handle it. He was one man with one dog and enough trauma to fill a cemetery. But he knew what would happen if he called. Jurisdictional confusion, paperwork, bureaucracy. By the time anyone organized a response, Victor and his operation would be gone. The captives would be moved. The evidence would vanish. And Sarah Walsh would die. How far is the camp from here? Emma sat up straighter. I don't know. I walked all night, maybe longer. I followed the river until I couldn't anymore. Which direction? She pointed east. Marcus pulled a topographic map from his shelf and spread it on the table. Emma, come here. I need you to look at something. Emma climbed off the couch blanket wrapped around her shoulders like a cape. Storm followed, staying pressed against her leg. Marcus pointed to his cabin location. We're here. You said you followed a river. Do you remember anything about the Camp Mountains landmarks? Emma studied the map with fierce concentration. Then her finger moved. There. She tapped a spot about 15 miles east. There's a big waterfall. We could hear it from the camp. And the mountain behind us has a face. A face like a man's face. In the rocks. The other kids called it the Devil's Head. Marcus knew exactly what she was describing. Devil's Head Ridge. The old Blackwood mine was located at its base, abandoned for 60 years, or supposedly abandoned. Emma, you're very brave. Do you know that... She looked up at him with eyes too old for her face. I'm not brave. I'm just the only one who got out. The words hung in the air between them. Marcus returned to the window. The blizzard showed no signs of weakening. He had 2 choices. Wait for morning. Call authorities. Follow protocol. Hope the system worked for once in its miserable existence, or move now, alone, in conditions that could kill him before he traveled 5 miles. Storm appeared beside him, pressing against his leg. Marcus looked down at the dog. What do you think, boy? Storm's dark eyes met his. The dog's tail swayed once. They both knew what had to happen. Emma, I'm going to make a call. Then I need you to tell me everything you remember about the camp, Every detail, every face, everything. Emma straightened her spine. I remember everything. Mama made me memorize it. She said someday I would need to tell someone who could help. Marcus picked up the satellite phone and powered it on for the first time in 3 weeks. He dialed a number he had promised himself he would never use again. It rang twice before a voice answered. Marcus, Jesus Christ. Do you know what time it is? Noah, I need your help. Noah Briggs, former SEAL teammate, now FBI special agent working domestic trafficking cases, the only person left who Marcus trusted completely. What's wrong? Are you okay? I'm fine. But I've got a 7-year-old girl in my cabin who just walked through a blizzard to escape a trafficking operation 15 miles from my location. Silence on the line. Say that again. Marcus repeated it. He described what Emma had told him. The camp, the guards, the mine, the trucks disappearing into the mountain. Marcus, you need to stay put. I can have a team there in... How long? Noah paused. This blizzard is shutting down everything. Helicopters are grounded across 3 states. Roads are impassable. Realistically, 48 hours minimum. That's too long. I know, but you can't go in alone. You don't even know the tactical situation. I know there are women and children being held captive. I know they could be moved any minute. I know one little girl risked her life because her mother believed someone would help. Marcus looked at Emma, who was watching him with desperate eyes. I'm not going to prove her wrong. Marcus, listen to me. You're one man. One man and Storm. We've done more with less. That was different. You had a team. You had support. I had my brother. The word stopped Noah cold. Tyler Cole. Marcus's younger brother by 3 years. SEAL Team 4. Killed in the same ambush that scarred Storm and shattered Marcus's soul. Marcus, that wasn't your fault. I'm not calling about Tyler. I'm calling because in 48 hours those captives will be gone. You know how these operations work. They spook easily. If Emma's escape has been discovered, they're already preparing to move. Then let me call whoever you want. Coordinate whatever you can. But I'm moving at first light with or without backup. Noah exhaled heavily. You stubborn son of a bitch. It's why you loved having me on the team. It's why you gave me gray hair. Another pause. Okay, listen. I've got a contact in the regional sheriff's office, deputy named Rachel Santos. She's been investigating suspicious activity in that area for months. Her superiors keep shutting her down. Shutting her down, why? Because Victor Crane, yeah, I know his name has connections. Big ones. Political donations. Old money. The kind of influence that makes problems disappear. Marcus felt his jaw tighten. Then this Deputy Santos might be the only clean badge in the county. Possibly. I'll reach out to her, give her your coordinates. Maybe she can provide ground support. What about federal response? I'll do what I can. But Marcus, be careful. Crane isn't some backwoods thug. He was military, special forces. Dishonorable discharge for conduct violations that never made it to official record. If half the rumors about him are true, he's as dangerous as anyone we ever faced overseas. Understood. And Marcus, one more thing. What? Don't die. I'm not delivering that notification again. The call ended. Marcus stood motionless for a long moment, the phone dead in his hand. Don't die. Easy for Noah to say. Marcus had been trying to die slowly for the past year. Isolation was just suicide with extra steps. But something had shifted in the last few hours. A small hand gripping his sleeve. Blue eyes filled with desperate hope. Words that echoed through his hollow chest. Please save my mom. He turned to find Emma watching him. Are you going to help her? Marcus knelt so he was at her eye level. Yes? The men at the camp have guns. I know. There are lots of them. I know. Mr. Victor is really, really scary. Marcus held her gaze. Emma, I spent 18 years as a Navy SEAL. I've faced scary men on 4 continents. I've been shot twice, stabbed once, survived explosions that should have killed me. He reached out and gently squeezed her shoulder. I promise you I'm scarier. Emma stared at him for a long moment. Then, for the first time since she had stumbled through his door, she smiled. Mama said someone would come. She said God would send a warrior. Marcus felt the words pierce something deep inside him. He had stopped believing in God after Tyler died, after his wife, after everything. But looking at this child, this impossibly brave little girl who had walked through a killing blizzard on faith alone, he wondered if maybe he had been wrong. Can I ask you something? Emma said. Anything. Why do you live out here all alone? The question hit harder than he expected. He could lie, offer a simple answer, protect the darkness inside him from innocent eyes. But Emma deserved truth. She had given him nothing but truth. I had a brother, Marcus said quietly. His name was Tyler. He was a SEAL, too. 2 years ago, we were on a mission together in Afghanistan. Something went wrong. Tyler was killed. So were 7 other people I was supposed to save. Emma's face softened. Did you get hurt too? Storm got hurt. Marcus looked at the dog. He almost died. Sometimes I think the only reason I kept going was because he needed me. What about your family? Your mom and dad? My parents passed away a long time ago. It was just me and Tyler, and my wife. Marcus's voice caught. She died too. Car accident, a few months after Tyler. Emma reached out and took his hand. Her fingers were tiny and warm. That's really sad. It is. But you're still here. I'm still here? Maybe, Emma hesitated. Maybe that means you're supposed to help us. Maybe that's why you're still here. Marcus had no answer for that. He squeezed her hand gently and stood. I need you to do something for me, Emma. I have a friend nearby, an old man named Walter. He and his wife Martha will keep you safe while I find your mom. Can you be brave a little longer? Emma nodded. I can be brave. That's my girl. He looked at Storm. You stay with her boy. Keep her warm. Storm tilted his head as if to argue. I mean it. She needs you more than I do right now. The dog whined softly but moved to Emma's side. Marcus began gathering supplies. Thermal gear. Rope. Emergency beacon. His medical kit. And from the locked box beneath his bed, something he had hoped never to touch again. His service weapon. A Sig Sauer P226 with 3 extra magazines. He checked the action loaded around and holstered it at his hip. When he turned back, Emma was watching him with wide eyes. You have a gun. I do. Are you going to use it? Marcus knelt one more time. Only if I have to, Emma. I'm not going there to hurt people. I'm going to bring your mom home. That's all. What if Mr. Victor tries to stop you? Marcus met her eyes with steady calm. Then Mr. Victor is going to have a very bad night. The blizzard continued to rage outside, but inside the cabin something had changed. For the first time in 43 days, Marcus Cole had a reason to live. For the first time in 8 months, Emma Walsh had hope. And somewhere in the darkness 15 miles to the east, Sarah Walsh waited for a rescue she had been promised would come. She just didn't know it would arrive in the form of a broken warrior, a scarred dog, and a storm that refused to stop. The first light of dawn revealed nothing but white fury. Marcus stood at the cabin door fully geared, watching the blizzard assault the mountain with unrelenting rage. Visibility had dropped to 15 feet. Wind chill pushed temperatures below -20. "You're really going out there?" He turned. Emma stood wrapped in blankets, Storm pressed against her side. Her blue eyes held fear, but also something stronger. Trust. "I have to go now, Emma. Every hour I wait is another hour your mom stays in danger. But the storm is why I'm going now." Marcus knelt to her level. "Victor's men won't expect anyone to move in this weather. It gives me an advantage." Emma bit her lip. "What if you don't come back?" The question cut deeper than she could know. Marcus reached into his pocket and pulled out a worn military challenge coin. The seal trident gleamed dull bronze in the firelight. "This belonged to my brother Tyler. He gave it to me the day before he died. He said it would protect me." Marcus pressed it into Emma's small palm. "I'm going to need it back, so I have to come back. Understand?" Emma clutched the coin against her chest. "I'll keep it safe." "I know you will." Storm whined and pressed harder against Emma's leg. "You too, boy." Marcus rubbed the dog's scarred ear. "Take care of her until I get back." Storm's dark eyes held his for a long moment. An understanding passed between them, silent and complete. Marcus stood and shouldered his pack. "Wait." Emma's voice stopped him at the door. "I forgot to tell you something. About the camp." "What is it?" "There's a woman. Her name is Rosa. She's Mr. Victor's helper. She brings food to the prisoners. But she's nice to us. Sometimes she sneaks us extra bread." "Is she a captive too?" Emma shook her head. "I don't think so, but she cries sometimes when she thinks nobody's watching. Mama said Rosa is trapped in a different way." Marcus filed this information away. An inside ally could be the difference between success and failure. "Thank you, Emma. That's important." He opened the door. Wind screamed into the cabin, clawing at warmth. "Marcus." He looked back one last time. "Tell my mom I love her. Tell her I was brave." Something cracked inside his chest. "I'll tell her. But you can tell her yourself when I bring her home." He stepped into the white hell and pulled the door shut behind him. The cold hit him like a physical assault. Within seconds, ice crystals coated his beard and froze his eyelashes together. He blinked rapidly, forcing his body to adapt. 15 miles to Devil's Head Ridge. In this weather, that might as well be 1,500. Marcus activated his GPS tracker and began moving east following the frozen riverbed Emma had described. His snowshoes bit into powder that reached his thighs. Every step was a battle. But Marcus Cole had fought worse battles and lost worse things. He pushed forward. 2 hours into the trek, his satellite phone buzzed. He ducked behind a massive boulder and answered. "Marcus Cole!" A woman's voice. Professional. Tense. "Who's asking?" "Deputy Rachel Santos. Noah Briggs contacted me. Said you're moving on Victor Crane's operation." "I'm already moving. What do you have for me? More than you know." Santos lowered her voice. "I've been investigating Crane for 18 months. My superiors shut me down every time. Told me I was chasing ghosts." "What did you find?" 23 missing women in 3 years. 8 children. All cases closed as runaways or voluntary departures. Every single investigation died on the same desk. Sheriff Tom Bradley. Bradley is dirty. Bradley is bought. Crane donated $200,000 to his campaign, plus whatever's under the table. Santos paused. "I've been building a shadow file. Evidence my department doesn't know exists." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because Noah said you're going in alone. And I'm not going to sit on my hands while some SEAL cowboy gets himself killed trying to do my job." Marcus smiled despite himself. "What do you propose?" "I'm 2 miles south of your position. There's an old ranger station at the base of Eagle Pass. Meet me there in 40 minutes. "How do you know my position?" "Noah gave me your tracker frequency. He also said you're the most stubborn human being he's ever met, given that he works with FBI agents that's saying something." Marcus checked his GPS. The ranger station was only slightly off his route. 40 minutes. He ended the call and adjusted his course. The blizzard seemed to intensify, as if the mountain itself was trying to stop him. Wind gusts knocked him sideways. Snow filled his tracks within seconds. Twice he lost his footing and plunged into drifts that swallowed him to the chest. But he kept moving. Tyler would have kept moving. Those women in the camp needed him to keep moving. Sarah Walsh needed him to keep moving. 38 minutes later, Marcus spotted the ranger station through the white chaos. A small structure barely visible, hunkered against the mountain like a man bracing for a blow. A figure emerged from the doorway. Deputy Rachel Santos was younger than he expected, maybe 35. Dark hair pulled back tight. Sharp brown eyes that assessed him with cop intensity. She wore civilian cold weather gear, no uniform. "You actually made it." "You sound surprised." "Noah said you were good. Good and crazy aren't the same thing. Sometimes they overlap." Santos almost smiled. "Get inside. We need to talk." The ranger station was barely warmer than outside, but it blocked the wind. Santos had spread a map on a dusty table, annotated with handwritten notes and photographs. "Here's what I know." She pointed to a cluster of buildings circled in red. "Crane's operation runs out of what looks like a legitimate logging company. Cascade Mountain Timber. On paper, they harvest cedar for export. But their harvest numbers don't match their shipping manifests. They're moving twice as much weight as they're logging." Santos tapped a photograph of tire tracks. "And these were taken near the old Blackwood mine entrance. Heavy vehicle tracks. Commercial size. They're using the mine tunnels." "That's my theory. The mine connects to an abandoned rail line that runs 12 miles east to a private depot. From there, they could move cargo to Seattle, Portland, or straight to the Canadian border without ever touching a public road." Marcus studied the map. The girl said there are guards, fences, dogs. She's right. I've done surveillance from a distance. Crane runs his camp like a military installation. Rotating patrols, communication protocols. These aren't random criminals, Cole. They're trained. What about personnel? Best estimate 20 to 30 on site at any time. Armed. At least half are ex-military. Law enforcement response. Santos shook her head. Bradley controls dispatch. If I call this in through official channels, Crane gets tipped off before the first patrol car starts its engine. What about federal? Noah's working it, but the blizzard has everything locked down. We're looking at 36 hours minimum before anyone can mobilize. That's too long. I know. Santos met his eyes. That's why I'm here. 2 of us have better odds than 1. Marcus studied her. You're risking your career, your life. Why? Something dark flickered across Santos's face. My sister Carmen disappeared 7 years ago. She was 19, walking home from community college. They found her car in a parking lot with the engine still running. I'm sorry. She was never found. Case went cold after 3 months. Santos's jaw tightened. I became a cop because I never wanted another family to feel what mine felt. Every case I close, every victim I help, it's for her. Marcus nodded slowly. Okay, you're in. But we do this my way. You follow my lead. When I say move, you move. When I say stop, you freeze. Clear. Crystal. He turned back to the map. Tell me about the mine entrance. For the next hour they planned. Santos had done impressive reconnaissance. She knew patrol schedules, guard positions, blind spots in the perimeter. Combined with Emma's inside knowledge, Marcus began to see possibilities. There's a service road here. Santos traced a line on the map. It's supposed to be closed for winter, but I've seen trucks using it at night. If we follow the tree line, we can approach from the north. Their patrols focus mostly on the south and east approaches. Why north? Because the terrain is brutal. Steep ravine, heavy deadfall. They assume nobody would be crazy enough to try it. Then that's exactly what we do. Marcus checked his watch. Nearly noon. They had maybe 4 hours of daylight left. We move in 90 minutes. Hit the perimeter at dusk. Darkness is our ally. Santos nodded. What's the primary objective? Rescue the captives. All of them. Secondary objective is evidence. We need proof that can't be buried or explained away. And Victor Crane? Marcus's eyes went cold. If he gets in my way, he stops being a secondary objective. They ate rations in silence, prepared gear, checked weapons. Santos carried a service Glock and a backup piece on her ankle. Marcus noted her smooth, practiced movements. You've done this before. 2 tours in Afghanistan. Military police. She caught his look. What, you thought I was just some small-town deputy? I stopped making assumptions about people a long time ago. At 1400 hours, they moved out. The blizzard had weakened slightly, visibility extending to maybe 30 feet. Still miserable conditions, but manageable. Santos proved her worth immediately. She moved with tactical awareness, using terrain for cover, maintaining proper intervals. Not a liability, an asset. They reached the ridgeline above Crane's compound as the sun began its early winter descent. Marcus dropped to his belly and crawled to a rocky outcrop. Below, through the swirling snow, the camp revealed itself. Jesus, Santos breathed beside him. The compound was larger than expected. Multiple buildings arranged in a rough square, guard towers at 3 corners. A chain-link fence topped with razor wire encircled everything. And there were the trucks Emma had described. 3 of them, large commercial vehicles backed up to what looked like a loading dock. They're preparing to move. Santos nodded grimly. The blizzard must have spooked them. They're accelerating their timeline. Marcus swept his binoculars across the compound, guards patrolling in pairs, dogs on leashes, a central building with light spilling from barred windows. That's where they're keeping the captives. How do you know? The bars, the guard posted at the door, the way the patrol patterns all orient toward it. Marcus lowered his binoculars. They're protecting their product. Santos flinched at the word. Don't call them that. That's what Crane calls them. Understanding how he thinks is how we beat him. Movement near the main gate caught his attention. A black SUV pulled up. The gate opened without the vehicle stopping. VIP, Santos muttered. Someone important. The SUV parked near the central building. A man stepped out. Marcus didn't need binoculars to recognize authority. This man moved like someone who owned the ground beneath his feet. Tall, military bearing, gray hair cropped short. Victor Crane, Santos confirmed. I've seen his photo. Crane spoke to the guards. His posture radiated displeasure. Even from this distance, Marcus could see men shrinking under his attention. Something's wrong. He's angry. The girl, Santos realized. They must have discovered Emma's escape. As if confirming her words, Crane suddenly grabbed one of the guards by the throat. Even through the wind, Marcus heard the man's strangled cry. Crane held him there for a long moment, then threw him into the snow. Orders were barked. Men scattered. Within minutes, teams of guards were forming up, preparing to search. They're going to sweep the perimeter. Marcus grabbed Santos's arm. "We need to move. Now!" They scrambled back from the ridge and descended into a ravine. Marcus led them along the frozen stream bed, putting distance between their position and the compound. "This complicates things." "No kidding." Santos was breathing hard. "If they send search parties out, they might find our tracks." "They won't search in this weather, not effectively, but they'll tighten security at the compound." Marcus's mind raced through options. A direct assault was suicide now. With guards on high alert and Crane personally on site, they would be detected before breaching the fence. But waiting meant the captives would be moved. Sarah Walsh would disappear into a trafficking network that spanned continents. There had to be another way. The mine entrance. Marcus stopped suddenly. "Where exactly is it?" Santos pulled out her map, shielding it from snow. "Here, north side of the compound, about 200 meters from the main fence." "Is it guarded? Light security? Most of their attention focuses on the main buildings." "Because they don't expect anyone to know about it." "What are you thinking?" Marcus traced a path with his finger. "We don't go through the front door. We don't go through the fence at all. We go underground." Santos stared at him. "The mine shafts. Those tunnels haven't been maintained in 60 years. They could collapse at any moment." "Probably. You could die down there before you even reach the compound." "Probably. This is insane." "Welcome to my world." Marcus started moving again. "The trucks are loading at a dock connected to the mine tunnel system. That means there's a direct path from the tunnels to wherever they're keeping the captives. Or there's a maze of collapsed passages and you suffocate in the dark. Then you can tell Noah I died being stubborn." Santos caught up to him. "I'm not letting you go alone. Someone needs to stay topside. When the FBI arrives, they need eyes on the compound. Real-time intelligence. And if you don't come out," Marcus met her eyes, "then you make sure every single person involved in this operation burns, starting with Sheriff Bradley." They reached the northern approach as full darkness descended. The mine entrance was exactly where Santos had marked it. A gaping black mouth in the mountainside, partially concealed by decades of overgrowth now buried under snow. Fresh tire tracks led in and out. The tunnel was definitely in use. Marcus knelt to examine the ground. Recent footprints. Boot treads consistent with military-style footwear. At least 4 different sizes. "Guards rotate through here, probably every 2 hours." Santos checked her watch. "Next rotation should be in about 40 minutes. "That's my window." Marcus began shedding unnecessary gear. He kept his weapon's spare magazine's tactical flashlight and the emergency beacon Noah had given him. "If I'm not back in 3 hours, activate that beacon and get to the FBI staging area." Santos took the beacon reluctantly. "Cole, don't. You don't even know what I was going to say." "You were going to say something about being careful or coming back alive." Marcus secured his weapon. "I've heard it before. From my brother. From my wife. They're both dead." Santos flinched. "But there's a 7-year-old girl in my cabin holding onto a bronze coin like her life depends on it. And she's waiting for me to bring her mother home." Marcus stood. "So I'm coming back. Not because of anything you say. Because I promised her. And I don't break promises. Not anymore." He moved toward the mine entrance. "Cole." Santos's voice stopped him one last time. "For what it's worth, Noah was right about you." "What did he say?" "That you're the most stubborn human being he's ever met, and that there's nobody he'd rather have watching his back." Marcus allowed himself a small smile. Then he stepped into the darkness. The mine swallowed him whole. Total blackness pressed against him like a physical force. His tactical light carved a narrow path through air thick with dust and decades of neglect. The tunnel extended deeper than he expected. Support beams showed signs of recent reinforcement. Crane had invested in this infrastructure. Marcus moved silently, weapon ready, every sense straining. 50 meters in the tunnel branched. He paused, listening. Distant sounds echoed from the left passage. Machinery. Voices. The rumble of engines. He went left. The tunnel descended at a gentle slope. The air grew warmer. More recent construction appeared, including electrical conduits running along the walls, bare bulbs providing dim illumination. Marcus killed his flashlight and pressed against the wall. Ahead, the tunnel opened into a larger chamber. He could see the glow of artificial light, hear the unmistakable sounds of activity. He crept forward until he reached the edge of the chamber. What he saw made his blood freeze. The chamber had been converted into a staging area. Medical equipment lined one wall, including examination tables and cabinets filled with supplies. Along the opposite wall, chain-link cages had been constructed. Inside those cages, human beings huddled together. Women. Teenage girls. Some so young they could barely be called children. Marcus counted quickly. 12 in the cages. Maybe more in areas he couldn't see. 2 guards stood near the chamber entrance, smoking cigarettes and laughing about something. 3 more worked near the loading dock, directing forklifts that moved pallets of supplies. And there, near the medical equipment, a woman in a white coat examined a young girl who couldn't have been older than 15. The examiner worked with clinical detachment, checking teeth, hair, and skin, recording notes on a tablet. Marcus had seen enough. He was outnumbered, outgunned, operating alone in enemy territory. But those cages held human beings. Children. Tyler's voice echoed in his memory. A conversation from years ago during their first deployment together. What do you do when the mission is impossible? You find a way to make it possible. And if there is no way, then you create one, or you die trying. Marcus raised his weapon and stepped into the light. Nobody move. The guard spun. The woman in the white coat screamed. The captives in the cages pressed against the bars, eyes wide with terror and sudden desperate hope. Weapons on the ground, now! One guard reached for his radio. Marcus put a bullet through it. The shot echoed through the chamber like thunder. Next one goes through your hand. Weapons, ground, now! 3 guns clattered to the stone floor. Kick them away! All of you against the wall! They obeyed, hands raised, faces pale with shock. Marcus moved to the cages. The locks were electronic, controlled by a keypad. Code. Give me the code. The woman in the white coat, trembling violently, stammered, I don't know. I swear only Mr. Crane has... She's lying. A voice from inside the nearest cage. A woman, dark hair matted with sweat and dirt, stepped forward. The code is 7749. Rosa gave it to us, in case we ever had a chance. Marcus punched in the numbers. The locks clicked open. Everyone out. Stay together. Move toward the tunnel entrance. Women and girls poured from the cages, some sobbing, some silent, all moving with the shuffling desperation of people who had forgotten what freedom felt like. Marcus counted as they passed. 12. But Emma had said there were more. Women kept in a different location. Where are the others? The dark-haired woman stopped. Her eyes met his. You're here for Sarah. Marcus's heart slammed against his ribs. You know her. She's my friend, my only friend in this hell. The woman pointed toward a heavy steel door at the far end of the chamber. They moved her yesterday, her and 3 others, to the isolation wing. Why? Because her daughter escaped. Victor was furious. He said Sarah would pay for every hour it took to find Emma. Marcus felt rage building in his chest like a pressure wave. Can you get these people to the tunnel entrance? I think so, but the guards will be unconscious. Marcus moved toward the guards, still pressed against the wall. "All of you on the ground, face down, hands behind your heads." They complied. Marcus worked quickly, using zip ties from his pack to secure their wrists and ankles. He gagged them with strips torn from their own clothing. "If any of you move before I get back, I will find you. And what Victor Crane does to people will look like mercy compared to what I'll do. Understood?" Wide eyes and frantic nods. Marcus turned to the dark-haired woman. "What's your name?" "Maria." "Maria, get everyone to the tunnel entrance. There's a woman outside. Deputy Santos. She'll help you." "What about you?" Marcus checked his weapon. Full magazine. "I'm going to get Sarah Walsh, and then I'm going to burn this place to the ground." He moved toward the steel door. Behind him, Maria began herding the freed captives toward the tunnel, whispering encouragement, holding the hands of children who had forgotten what safety meant. Marcus reached the steel door. It was locked from the other side. He pressed his ear against the cold metal. Muffled sounds. Movement. A voice, harsh and commanding. Victor Crane's voice. "I'm running out of patience, Sarah. Where would your daughter go?" A woman's response, barely audible. "I told you, I don't know." "You're lying." A scream pierced the door, high and agonized. Marcus's vision tunneled. He stepped back, aimed at the door's hinges. 3 shots. The metal screamed and buckled. Marcus kicked the door open and plunged through. The room exploded into chaos the moment Marcus crossed the threshold. Victor Crane spun from where he stood over Sarah Walsh, his hand still gripping a bloodied knife. 2 guards flanked him, already reaching for weapons. Marcus fired twice. Both guards dropped before their fingers touched metal. Crane moved faster than any 52-year-old had a right to move. He grabbed Sarah from the chair and pressed the knife against her throat, using her body as a shield. "Don't!" Marcus froze, weapon trained on the sliver of Crane's head, visible behind Sarah's matted dark hair. "Drop the gun, soldier, or I open her throat right here." Sarah's eyes found Marcus. Terror and hope warred across her bruised face. Fresh blood ran from a wound on her arm where Crane had been working. "You must be the hero Emma ran to find." Crane's voice was calm, almost amused. "I have to admit I'm impressed. Getting past my perimeter in this weather, finding the mine entrance. Very professional." "Let her go." "Or what, you'll shoot me." Crane pressed the blade deeper. A thin line of red appeared on Sarah's neck. "You might hit me, but I guarantee my hand will twitch. And Sarah here will bleed out before you can apply pressure." Marcus calculated angles, distances, probabilities. Crane was right. The shot was too risky. "What do you want?" "What I've always wanted. To conduct my business without interference." Crane began moving sideways, dragging Sarah with him toward a second door Marcus hadn't noticed. "You've cost me a great deal tonight. 12 pieces of merchandise, months of careful planning. Do you have any idea what that represents in lost revenue?" "They're not merchandise. They're human beings. They're inventory. Nothing more." Crane's eyes glittered with cold intelligence. "You military types never understand business. Supply and demand. Market forces. I provide a service that powerful people are willing to pay extraordinary amounts for. That's not evil. That's capitalism." "You're a monster." "I'm a realist." Crane reached the second door. "Now here's what's going to happen. I'm going to walk out of here with Sarah. You're going to count to 100. And then you can do whatever you want with what's left of my operation. And if I don't agree, then Sarah dies. And you spend the rest of your life explaining to her daughter why you chose pride over her mother's life." Marcus's grip tightened on his weapon. Emma's face flashed through his mind. small hands clutching a bronze coin, blue eyes filled with trust. Tell my mom I love her. Tell her I was brave. Emma is safe. Marcus spoke directly to Sarah now. She's in my cabin with my dog. She walked through a blizzard to find help for you. She's the bravest person I've ever met. Tears spilled down Sarah's cheeks. My baby. She gave me a message. She said to tell you she loves you, and that she was brave. A sob broke from Sarah's chest. How touching. Crane yanked her backward. But this reunion is over. Say goodbye, Sarah. Wait. Marcus lowered his weapon slowly. He set it on the ground and raised his hands. There, no gun, no threat. Just let her go. Crane laughed. You think I'm stupid? The moment I release her, you'll come at me. Probably. Then why would I let her go? Because if you don't, I'll hunt you to the ends of the earth. Every contact you have, every safe house, every bank account, I'll burn it all. I'll make it my life's mission to destroy everything you've built. Big words from a man with no weapon. I spent 18 years as a Navy SEAL. I've killed men with my bare hands, with rocks, with pieces of wire. Marcus took a step forward. That gun was a courtesy, not a necessity. Something flickered in Crane's eyes. Recognition. Perhaps even respect. You're not bluffing. I never bluff. Silence stretched between them. Then Crane smiled. You know what I believe you. He shoved Sarah forward suddenly. She stumbled and fell. But I'm still walking out of here, because you're going to be too busy saving her to chase me. He pulled something from his pocket, a small device with a single button. Marcus recognized it instantly. That's a remote detonator, yes. Crane's smile widened. I always have contingencies. The charges are set throughout the mine structure, load-bearing points, collapse zones. In about 30 seconds, this entire tunnel system is going to come down. You'll kill everyone, your own men. Acceptable losses. I'll rebuild. I always do. Crane pressed the button. A deep rumble shook the earth. Dust cascaded from the ceiling. Somewhere in the distance, an explosion roared. Goodbye, soldier. Give my regards to the afterlife. Crane disappeared through the second door. Marcus lunged for Sarah. Can you walk? I think so. Another explosion. Closer. The floor bucked beneath them. Oh God. We have to move. Now. And he grabbed her arm and pulled her toward the door he'd entered through. The tunnel beyond was already filling with dust and debris. The others. Sarah dug in her heels. There are 3 more women, in the cells. Marcus looked back at the row of doors lining the hallway. Heavy steel. Locked. Do you know the code 4421? Rosa showed me. Another explosion shattered something deep in the earth. The ceiling cracked. Chunks of rock began falling. Marcus ran to the first door and punched in the code. It swung open to reveal a young woman, maybe 20, cowering in the corner. Get up. We're leaving. She didn't move. Frozen with terror. Sarah pushed past Marcus. Jenny, look at me. We have to go. Right now. The girl's eyes focused on Sarah. Recognition broke through the fear. Sarah? Yes, honey, come on. Take my hand. Sarah pulled Jenny from the cell while Marcus opened the second door. An older woman, 40s, already on her feet. About damn time. Move. Tunnel entrance. Go. The third door revealed 2 women huddled together. Sisters from the look of them. Everyone out. Stay together. Follow the lights. The ceiling groaned. A support beam cracked with a sound like a rifle shot. Marcus pushed the women ahead of him, positioning himself at the rear. The group stumbled through the collapsing tunnel, choking on dust, tripping over debris. Another explosion rocked the mountain. The tunnel behind them collapsed in a thundering avalanche of rock and earth. "Keep moving! Don't stop!" They reached the main chamber where Marcus had freed the first group. Empty now. Maria had gotten them out, but the exit tunnel was blocked. Tons of rubble filled the passage Marcus had used to enter. "No," Sarah's voice cracked. "No, no, no." Marcus's mind raced. There had to be another way. Crane had escaped through a second door. That meant another route existed. This way. He led them back toward the staging area, past the abandoned cages toward the loading dock. The trucks were gone. Fled when the explosions started, but the tunnel they had used remained open, a wide passage sloping upward toward distant light. "That leads to the rail depot." Sarah grabbed his arm. 12 miles. "We don't need to go 12 miles. We just need to get far enough from the collapse zone." Another section of ceiling gave way behind them. The women screamed. "Run!" They ran. The tunnel seemed endless. Every few seconds, another tremor shook the earth. Another section of roof threatened to come down. Marcus counted the women as they ran. Sarah, Jenny, the older woman, the two sisters. 5. Plus the 12 Maria had evacuated. 17 total. Where were the others? Emma had said more than 20 captives. The question would have to wait. Survival first. After what felt like hours but was probably only minutes, the tunnel began to stabilize. The explosions faded into distant rumbles. The ceiling stopped cracking. They had outrun the collapse. Marcus slowed the group to a walk. The women were gasping, some crying, all trembling with exhaustion and terror. "Is everyone okay? Any injuries?" The older woman spoke up. "I twisted my ankle, but I can walk." Jenny hit her head. Sarah was supporting the young woman who had blood running from a cut above her eye. "She needs stitches. When we get out, can you make it a little farther?" Jenny nodded weakly. They continued up the tunnel. The slope increased. The air grew colder. Then Marcus saw it. Light. Real light. Not the artificial glow of electric bulbs, but the gray gleam of a winter sky. "There, we're almost out." The tunnel opened onto a snow-covered hillside. The blizzard had weakened to scattered flurries. Visibility had improved to several hundred feet. Marcus oriented himself quickly. They had emerged about 2 miles from the compound on the eastern slope of Devil's Head Ridge. His satellite phone buzzed. "Cole, where the hell are you?" Santos's voice was frantic. "I've got 12 women at the tunnel entrance saying you're still inside. The whole mountain is coming down." "I'm out. Eastern tunnel exit. 2 miles from your position. I have 5 more survivors." "Thank God. What happened in there?" "Crane triggered demolition charges. He escaped through a secondary passage." "Son of a bitch." "What's the status on federal response?" "NOAA just radioed. FBI chopper is inbound. ETA 20 minutes. State police are mobilizing. It's happening, Cole. Cavalry's coming." 20 minutes. Crane had 20 minutes to disappear. Marcus looked at the women huddled behind him. Traumatized. Injured. Freezing. He looked at Sarah Walsh, who was watching him with knowing eyes. "You're thinking about going after him." "He'll get away." "Maybe." Sarah stepped closer. "Or maybe the FBI catches him. Or maybe he runs for the rest of his life, always looking over his shoulder." "That's not enough." "It has to be enough." Sarah's hand found his arm. "You saved us, Marcus. All of us. You walked into hell and brought us out. That matters more than revenge." "This isn't about revenge." "Then what is it about?" Marcus met her eyes. For a moment, he couldn't speak. What was it about Tyler? Emily. All the people he hadn't been able to save. The hostages in Afghanistan who had been executed while Marcus lay bleeding from shrapnel wounds. His brother's face slack with death eyes staring at nothing. His wife's hand growing cold in his while machines beeped and doctors shook their heads. I'm tired of losing. Sarah's grip tightened. Then don't lose. Stay here. Help us survive. Help me get back to my daughter. Emma, she's waiting for you. She's holding onto your brother's coin. She believes in you. Sarah's voice broke. Please, don't make her lose someone else. Marcus stood frozen on the snow-covered hillside. The mission. The enemy. The need for justice. Everything he had trained for screamed at him to pursue. But Sarah's eyes held him. And behind those eyes, he saw Emma. Brave, terrified, impossibly hopeful Emma. Tell my mom I love her. Tell her I was brave. Marcus exhaled slowly. Okay, Sarah sagged with relief. But if Crane ever comes back, if he ever threatens you or Emma again, I will find him, and I will end him. I know you will. Marcus turned to the other women. We need to move to higher ground. Deputy Santos will direct the helicopters to our position. Everyone stay together and stay warm. He led them up the slope to a rocky outcrop that would be visible from the air. The women huddled together, sharing body heat, drawing strength from each other. Sarah stayed close to Marcus. Can I ask you something? Anything? Emma said you lost someone. Your wife and your brother. White Marcus's jaw tightened. She told you, she said you were sad like me, that you had shadows in your eyes. Sarah paused. She also said you were still good, that the shadows hadn't eaten you up yet. Smart kid. The smartest. Gets it from her father. Sarah's voice carried old pain. Her real father, not Derek. Derek was my mistake. I thought I could save him from himself. Instead, he nearly destroyed us both. Where is he now? Dead, overdose, 2 years ago. Sarah pulled her thin clothing tighter. That's when Victor's men found us. Vulnerable, alone, easy prey. I'm sorry. Don't be. Everything that happened, losing Derek, being taken, these 8 months of hell, it all led to tonight. To Emma running through a blizzard. To you opening your door. Sarah looked at him with something approaching wonder. Maybe that's how God works. Through the broken places. Marcus thought about the cabin, the isolation, the 43 days of silence. He had gone there to disappear, to fade away from a world that had taken everything from him. Instead, the world had sent him a frozen child with an impossible request. Please save my mom. Maybe Sarah was right. Maybe purpose found you through the cracks. The distant thrum of helicopter blades broke the silence. Marcus pulled out his emergency beacon and activated the strobe. The light pulsed against the gray sky, a heartbeat of rescue. Within minutes, 2 helicopters descended through the cloud cover. FBI markings. Noah had kept his word. The first chopper touched down 50 yards away. Agents poured out weapons ready, followed by medical personnel with stretchers and blankets. Noah Briggs was among them. The 2 men embraced briefly, no words necessary. You crazy bastard, Noah pulled back. You actually did it. We're not done yet. Crane escaped. I know. We've got alerts going out to every law enforcement agency in 3 states. Border Patrol is on high alert. He won't get far. You don't know him. I know he just lost everything he built. That makes men sloppy. Noah clapped Marcus's shoulder. Right now we've got 17 survivors who need medical attention and debriefing. That's the priority. Marcus watched as the women were loaded onto helicopters, blankets wrapped around shoulders, IV lines started. Tears of relief streaming down faces that had forgotten what safety felt like. Jenny, the young woman with the head wound, was strapped to a stretcher. She grabbed Marcus's hand as they carried her past. "Thank you. Thank you." He squeezed her fingers gently. "You're going to be okay now." She nodded, fresh tears spilling, and then she was gone, lifted into the helicopter's belly. Sarah was the last to board. She stopped at the chopper's edge and turned back. "Are you coming? I need to coordinate with Santos, make sure the compound is secured." "That's not what I mean," Sarah held his gaze. "After this, after all the chaos dies down, are you going back to your cabin?" Back to the silence. Marcus didn't have an answer. "Emma will ask for you." Sarah's voice was soft, but certain. "When I see her, she'll ask where the man with the sad eyes is. The man who saved her mama. Tell her I kept my promise. Come tell her yourself." The helicopter's engines whined louder. A medic appeared at Sarah's shoulder, urging her aboard. "I'll think about it." Sarah smiled, the first real smile he had seen from her. "That's not a no." She disappeared into the helicopter. The door slid shut. Rotors increased speed and the aircraft lifted off, carrying 17 survivors toward hospitals, toward families, toward futures they had been certain were stolen forever. Marcus watched until the helicopter vanished into the clouds. "Cole." Santos approached through the snow, her face grim. "What is it? We secured the compound. What's left of it?" "The mine collapse destroyed about 60% of the tunnel system. Any of Crane's men left behind? 14. Most surrendered without a fight. A few tried to run. They didn't get far." Santos handed him a tablet. "But we found something. In Crane's office. Before the explosions destroyed it, someone was trying to burn files." Marcus looked at the tablet. Images of scorched documents, fragmentary records, names, dates, dollar amounts. "Can you read any of it?" "Enough." Santos swiped to a new image. "This is a ledger. Buyer names. Crane was careful he used codes, but we cross-referenced with our existing intelligence. 3 state senators, a federal judge, 2 billionaire businessmen, and someone listed only as the senator. That could be anyone. Or it could be Senator William Harker. The same William Harker who sits on the Senate Intelligence Committee. The same William Harker who buried the last trafficking investigation that got too close to the Cascade region." Marcus studied the partial record. "This isn't enough for an arrest." "No, but it's enough to start pulling threads. And once we start pulling..." Santos took the tablet back. "Crane was the visible part of the operation, the hands-on manager. But there's something bigger here, something that goes much higher." The implications settled over Marcus like a cold weight. This wasn't over. Saving 17 women was a victory, but the system that had allowed their captivity remained intact. Powerful people. Protected people. People who considered human beings inventory. What happens now? Now we do this the right way. Noah had joined them, his expression serious. Federal investigation. Grand jury. Subpoenas. We build a case that can't be buried or dismissed. And if the people involved are powerful enough to make it disappear, then we make sure the evidence gets to people who can't be bought. Media. Congressional oversight. International human rights organizations. Noah met his eyes. "You did the hard part, Marcus. You broke the operation wide open. Let us handle the rest." Marcus wanted to argue, to fight, to hunt down every person responsible and deliver justice personally. But Sarah's words echoed in his mind. "Don't lose. Stay here. Help me get back to my daughter." He had kept one promise tonight. Maybe that was enough. One condition. Name it. I want to know where Emma is. Noah's expression softened. She's safe. Walter Hess brought her to the FBI staging area when we arrived. She's with a child trauma specialist right now. I need to see her. Marcus, she's been through. I need to see her. I promised I would come back. I promised I would bring her mother home. Marcus's voice cracked slightly. I don't break promises. Not anymore. Noah studied him for a long moment. Then he nodded. Chopper leaves in 5 minutes. You can ride with me. The flight took 20 minutes that felt like hours. Marcus stared out the window at the snow-covered mountains, his mind replaying the night's events in fragmented loops. Crane's face smiling as he pressed the detonator. Sarah's eyes filled with desperate hope. The women running through collapsing tunnels, trusting him to lead them to safety. And beneath it all, a small voice, steady and certain. Tell my mom I love her. Tell her I was brave. The helicopter touched down at a high school gymnasium that had been converted into a staging area. Emergency vehicles filled the parking lot. Personnel rushed between temporary structures. Marcus climbed out and scanned the chaos. This way. Noah led him toward a corner of the gym that had been partitioned off. She's been asking for you. The trauma specialist said she wouldn't eat until she knew you were safe. They reached a makeshift room created with curtains and folding screens. A woman in civilian clothes sat on a cot reading from a tablet. Beside her, wrapped in a blanket that seemed to swallow her whole, sat Emma Walsh. The bronze coin was clutched in her small hand. She looked up as Marcus entered. For one frozen moment, neither of them moved. Then Emma was running blanket falling away, small arms reaching a cry of pure relief tearing from her throat. Marcus dropped to his knees and caught her. She slammed into his chest with enough force to rock him backward. Her arms wrapped around his neck, her face buried against his shoulder, her small body shaking with sobs. You came back. You came back. I promised. I knew you would. I knew it. She pulled back, tear-streaked face searching his. My mom, is she? She's safe, Emma. She's on her way to a hospital right now. She's hurt, but she's going to be okay. Emma's face crumpled. Can I see her? Soon. They need to take care of her injuries first, but soon. Did you tell her what I said? I told her. Marcus reached up and gently wiped tears from her cheek. She cried. Happy tears. She's so proud of you, Emma. You saved her life. I didn't do anything. I just ran. You ran through a blizzard, in the middle of the night, to find help. Marcus held her small face in his rough hands. That's not nothing. That's everything. You're the bravest person I've ever known. Emma sniffled. Then she pressed something into his palm. The bronze coin. Tyler's coin. You need this back. Marcus looked at the familiar weight, the seal trident worn smooth by years of handling. You know what, I think this coin has a new owner now. Emma's eyes widened. But your brother, Tyler, would want you to have it. He was a hero too, just like you. Marcus closed her fingers around the coin. Keep it safe. When you're scared, hold on to it. And remember, you're never alone. You'll always have people who will come for you. Emma stared at the coin like it was made of pure gold. Then she threw herself against Marcus again, her small voice muffled against his chest. I love you. 3 words. Simple and devastating. Marcus Cole, who had spent a year trying to disappear from the world, felt something shift inside his chest. A crack in the walls he had built. Light where there had been only darkness. I love you too, kid. He held her as she cried. Outside the makeshift room, the chaos of rescue operations continued. Helicopters landed and took off. Officials barked orders, survivors were processed and transported. But in that small curtained space, a broken soldier and a brave little girl held on to each other. And somewhere in the distance, a mother waited to be reunited with her child. And somewhere in the darkness, a monster named Victor Crane vanished into the night, carrying secrets that threatened to shake the foundations of power. The storm had passed, but the real battle was just beginning. 3 hours after the rescue, Marcus walked into the trauma ward of Cascade Regional Hospital with Emma's hand clasped tightly in his. Storm padded beside them, officially cleared by NOAA with emergency therapy animal credentials that had been fabricated on the spot. The German Shepherd drew stares from nurses and patients, but no one dared challenge them. Emma hadn't let go of Marcus since the gymnasium. Her small fingers gripped his with desperate strength, and every time he shifted his weight, she pulled closer. "Room 214, a nurse pointed down the hallway. "But I should warn you, your mother is still recovering from sedation. She may be disoriented." Emma looked up at Marcus. "What if she doesn't remember me?" "She'll remember you. You're the only thing she talked about down in those tunnels." They reached the door. Emma froze. "What's wrong?" "I'm scared." Marcus knelt to her level. "Of what? What if she's different? What if they hurt her so bad she's not my mama anymore?" The question hit Marcus like a physical blow. 7 years old, and this child already understood that trauma could steal the essence of a person. "Listen to me." He held both her hands. "Your mama survived 8 months in hell because of you. Every single day she held on because she knew you needed her. Whatever happened down there, it didn't change who she is. It just showed how strong she is." "How do you know?" "Because when I found her when Crane had a knife to her throat, she wasn't thinking about herself. She was asking about you, making sure you were safe." Marcus squeezed her fingers. "That's a mother's love, Emma. Nothing can destroy that." Emma took a deep breath. "Okay, I'm ready." Marcus pushed open the door. Sarah Walsh lay in the hospital bed, her dark hair spread across the white pillow. Bandages covered her arm where Crane had cut her. An IV dripped steadily into her vein. Monitors beeped soft rhythms. Her eyes were closed. Emma's courage faltered. She pressed against Marcus's leg, hiding. "It's okay." He gently urged her forward. "Go to her." Emma took one step, then another. "Mama." Sarah's eyes fluttered open. For a moment, confusion clouded her face. Then her gaze found the small figure approaching her bed. "Emma." The word came out as a broken whisper. "Mama." Emma ran the final steps and climbed onto the bed, throwing herself into her mother's arms. Sarah cried out, whether from pain or joy, it was impossible to tell, and wrapped her daughter in an embrace that looked like it might never end. "My baby, my brave, beautiful baby. I found help, Mama, just like you said. I found the warrior." Sarah looked up through her tears. Her eyes found Marcus standing in the doorway. "You brought her back to me." "She brought herself. I just helped with the last part." And Sarah extended one hand toward him, beckoning. Marcus hesitated. This moment belonged to them. Mother and daughter. He was just the stranger who had stumbled into their story. But Emma turned and reached for him too. "Come here. You're part of this." Storm whined softly and nudged Marcus's hand. He crossed to the bed. Sarah grasped his fingers with surprising strength. "Thank you." The words were inadequate, and she seemed to know it. "I don't know how to. I can never repay. You don't owe me anything." "I owe you everything." Sarah's voice cracked. "When I sent Emma into that blizzard, I thought I was sending her to die. I thought it was better than what Victor had planned for her. I never imagined someone would actually find her, actually come for us. Emma told me you said God would send a warrior. Sarah laughed weakly. I said that so she wouldn't be scared. I didn't believe it myself. Maybe you should have. Their eyes held for a long moment. Storm jumped onto the bed, settling himself between Emma and Sarah like he belonged there. Emma giggled, the first genuine laugh Marcus had heard from her, and buried her face in the dog's thick fur. Is this Storm? That's him. He's so warm. Emma looked up. Mama Storm kept me alive. He lay right next to me and didn't move all night. Sarah stroked the dog's scarred ear. Then I owe him, too. Marcus pulled a chair close to the bed. We need to talk about what happens next. Sarah's expression shifted. The brief joy faded into something more guarded. Victor escaped. You know, I saw his face when the explosion started. He wasn't panicked. He was pleased. Sarah's jaw tightened. He always has an escape plan. Always. The FBI is tracking him. Every border crossing, every airport, He won't use regular routes. He has people everywhere. Customs agents, local police, politicians. Sarah looked at Marcus with haunted eyes. You don't understand what you've stepped into. Victor Crane is a symptom, not the disease. I know about the ledger, the buyer names. Then you know some very powerful people want this buried. Want us buried. Sarah pulled Emma closer. We're not safe. We won't be safe until everyone involved is exposed. A knock interrupted them. Deputy Santos entered, followed by Noah Briggs. Their expressions were grim. We need to talk. Noah glanced at Emma. Privately. Whatever you have to say, you can say in front of me. Sarah's voice hardened. I spent 8 months being kept in the dark. That ends now. Noah exchanged a look with Santos. She nodded. Fine. 2 hours ago, we arrested Sheriff Tom Bradley at his home. He's being transported to federal custody. Marcus sat up straighter. That's good news. It gets better and worse. Santos stepped forward. Bradley flipped immediately, started naming names. He confirmed that Victor Crane has been paying off local officials for over a decade. But that's not all. She pulled out her tablet and showed them a photograph. A man in his 60s. Silver hair, distinguished features, political smile. Senator William Harker. Sarah's face went pale. Oh God. You recognize him? He visited the camp twice. Sarah's voice was barely audible. Victor called him an investor. They had dinner together while we were locked in cages 20 feet away. The room went silent. A sitting United States senator, connected directly to a human trafficking operation. Can you testify to that? Noah asked. Under oath in court. Sarah looked at Emma, still pressed against her side. If I testify, we become targets. Not just from Victor, from everyone he's connected to. We can put you in witness protection. New identities. New location. For how long? Forever? Sarah shook her head. Emma deserves a real life, not running and hiding. What's the alternative? You know what Harker and his friends are capable of. If they think you can bring them down, I'll do it. Everyone turned to Emma. The 7-year-old sat up straight, her small face set with determination. I'll tell people what I saw. The bad men, the trucks, the women in cages. I remember everything. Emma, honey, Sarah started. No, Mama. You always told me to be brave. You always told me that good people have to stand up against bad people. Emma looked at Marcus. That's what you did. You stood up. You didn't run away. Marcus felt his throat tighten. Emma's testimony could be powerful. Santos spoke carefully. Children make compelling witnesses. Juries believe them. Absolutely not. Sarah's voice rose. She's 7 years old. I won't put her through that trauma again. Then let me do it. A new voice from the doorway. Everyone turned. A woman stood there, dark hair streaked with gray, wearing hospital clothes. Maria, the woman who had helped lead the first group of survivors to safety. I've been with Crane's operation for 6 years. I know everything, every route, every buyer, every transaction. Maria stepped into the room. I'll testify, in exchange for immunity and protection for my children. You have children? Santos asked. Twin boys, 7 years old. Crane's men have been holding them to ensure my cooperation. Maria's eyes glistened. I did things I'm not proud of. I helped process the new arrivals. I kept records. I stayed alive because I had to get back to my sons. Where are they now? Portland, with Crane's people. Maria's voice broke. If you can get them safe, I'll give you everything. Names, dates, bank accounts, all of it. Noah was already on his phone. I need a tactical team mobilized to Portland. Highest priority extraction. The next 2 hours blurred into frantic activity. Maria provided an address. FBI agents coordinated with Portland police. A rescue operation was planned and executed with precision that only federal resources could achieve. Marcus stayed with Sarah and Emma, watching updates come in on Santos's tablet. Team is in position, Santos narrated. Approaching the house. 2 guards visible. Entry in 60 seconds. Emma gripped Marcus's hand. Will Maria's boys be okay? The FBI is very good at this. Like you. Different kind of good, but yes. 30 seconds passed. Breach, Santos announced. They're inside. Muffled sounds came through the radio. Shouts, commands. Then, target secured. 2 male children approximately 7 years old unharmed. Repeat, targets are secure. Maria collapsed against the wall, sobbing. My babies are safe. Santos helped her into a chair. They're being transported to a secure location. You'll see them within the hour. Maria looked up at Marcus with tear-streaked eyes. You started this. That little girl running through the blizzard. She broke everything wide open. Marcus looked at Emma. She has a habit of doing that. As the night progressed, more pieces fell into place. Maria's testimony opened floodgates. Bank records, communication logs, photographic evidence from the operation's internal surveillance. By dawn, federal prosecutors had enough to issue arrest warrants for 4 state officials, 2 corporate executives, and Senator William Harker. Noah found Marcus in the hospital cafeteria, staring at untouched coffee. You should eat something. Not hungry? You haven't slept in 40 hours. I've gone longer. Noah sat across from him. The senator was taken into custody an hour ago. His office is claiming it's a political hit job. His lawyers are already spinning. Will it stick? The charges? Yeah. Maria's records combined with Bradley's testimony combined with what Sarah and the other survivors can provide, it's overwhelming. Noah paused. Harker's career is over. His freedom too, if the prosecution doesn't screw it up. And Crane, Noah's expression darkened. Still in the wind. We tracked him to a private airfield outside Seattle. A plane left for Canada 3 hours before we got there. So he's gone. For now. International warrants are being processed. Canada, Mexico, Europe. He's one of the most wanted men in North America. Noah leaned forward. But Marcus, there's something else. What? We found his laptop. Encrypted, but our tech people cracked it this morning. Noah pulled up a file on his phone. He kept detailed records of his buyers, preferences, special requests. I don't want to know. You need to know this part. Noah showed him the screen. There's a list of pending acquisitions, children who are being tracked for future capture. Marcus's stomach turned to ice. How many? 18. All under the age of 12. All from vulnerable families, foster care, single parents, unstable housing. Noah scrolled through the list. We've already contacted families, placed them under protective surveillance. Why are you telling me this? Because one name on that list stood out. Noah turned the phone to face Marcus fully. A photograph of a blonde girl with blue eyes. Emma Walsh. She was scheduled for acquisition 6 months from now. Special handling designation. Noah's voice was tight with controlled anger. Crane wasn't just holding Sarah and Emma hostage. He was grooming Emma for a specific buyer, someone willing to pay 7 figures. Marcus felt rage building in his chest like a physical force. Who? We don't have a name yet, just a code. Collector. Maria says he's Crane's biggest client, operates out of Southeast Asia, specializes in… Noah stopped. You don't want to know the details. I want to know everything. No, you really don't. Trust me on this. Noah put away his phone. The point is, Emma was never going to be safe as long as Crane's operation existed. You didn't just save Sarah and the other women. You saved Emma from something worse than death. Marcus stood abruptly. His chair scraped against the floor. Where are you going? I need to see her. Marcus, I need to see her right now. He found them in Sarah's room. The morning sun had finally broken through the clouds, filling the space with pale winter light. Sarah was awake. Emma curled asleep beside her. Storm lay at the foot of the bed, his dark eyes tracking Marcus as he entered. You look terrible. Sarah's voice was soft. I've looked worse. I doubt that. She gestured to the chair beside her bed. Sit, before you fall down. Marcus sat. For a long moment he just watched Emma sleep. She has nightmares. Sarah stroked her daughter's hair. She pretends she doesn't, but I can always tell. She's been having them since we were taken. That won't stop for a while. I know. Sarah looked at him. You have them too, don't you, nightmares? Marcus didn't answer. He didn't need to. Emma told me about your brother. And your wife. Sarah's voice was gentle. She said you came to the mountain to disappear. That was the plan? And now, Marcus watched Emma's small chest rise and fall. I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead. Liar. Sarah almost smiled. You're a planner, a strategist. It's written all over you. Maybe I used to be. You still are. You just forgot how to plan for yourself. Sarah reached over and took his hand. Marcus, what happens when the chaos dies down, when the arrests are made and the trials start and the world moves on. What happens to you? I go back to my cabin, monitor weather patterns, assist search and rescue. The words sounded hollow even to him. Alone? Storm will be there. That's not what I mean. Sarah's grip tightened. You have a choice, you know. You don't have to disappear again. What's the alternative? Stay. The word hung in the air between them. Emma needs stability. She needs someone she trusts, someone who makes her feel safe. Sarah's eyes held his. She talks about you constantly. Marcus said this. Marcus showed me that. Marcus is a warrior, but he's not scary. I'm not. I can't be. Her father. Sarah shook her head. I'm not asking you to be. Her father is dead, and honestly, he was never much of a father anyway. I'm asking you to be what you already are. Someone who cares. Someone who showed up when no one else would. You don't know me. Not really. I know you walked into a blizzard for a stranger. I know you entered a heavily guarded compound alone to save women you'd never met. I know you held my daughter and told her she was brave when she was falling apart. Sarah's voice cracked. I know you're the first person in 8 months who treated me like a human being instead of property. Marcus looked away. I'm broken, Sarah. I have PTSD. I have nightmares that wake me up screaming. I have days when I can't get out of bed because the weight of everything I've lost crushes me. So, he turned back, surprised. So that doesn't concern you. Marcus, I spent 8 months being tortured by a monster. I watched women be sold like cattle. I protected my daughter from horrors no child should ever witness. Sarah's jaw set with quiet strength. You think you're broken scares me? Broken is all I know. Broken is what we are. That's not what heals broken, Sarah interrupted. Time maybe. Distance definitely not. I tried that. She gestured at the sleeping Emma. She heals me every day, every smile, every nightmare we survive together. Marcus felt something shift inside his chest. The same crack that had formed when Emma said she loved him. Widening, deepening. I don't know how to do this. Family, connection. I've been alone for so long. So have we. Sarah smiled through her tears. Maybe that's why this works. 3 broken people who don't know how to be whole anymore. Maybe we figure it out together. Emma stirred. Her eyes blinked open. Marcus. Her voice was sleep-thick. You're still here. I'm still here. Good. She reached out and grabbed his hand, pulling it toward her. Don't go away again. Okay. Marcus looked at Sarah. She nodded just slightly. He looked at Storm, who wagged his tail once. He looked at Emma, blue eyes, hopeful bronze coin, clutched in her other hand. Okay. The word felt strange on his tongue. Unfamiliar. Terrifying. I won't go away. Emma smiled and closed her eyes. Within seconds she was asleep again, her small fingers still wrapped around his. Sarah mouthed 2 words. Thank you. Marcus didn't know what he was doing, didn't know if he could be what they needed, didn't know if the darkness inside him would swallow them all. But for the first time in a year, he felt something other than emptiness. He felt hope, fragile, uncertain, easily broken, but alive. His phone buzzed, a message from Noah. Urgent! Crane surfaced. Intercepted communication. He's not running. He's planning. Marcus's blood went cold. What is it? Sarah's voice sharpened with instinctive fear. Before Marcus could answer, his phone buzzed again. A photograph. His cabin. His empty cabin. Taken from the tree line. And beneath it, a text message. You took everything from me. Now I take everything from you. Starting with the girl. Marcus looked at Emma sleeping peacefully. He looked at Sarah, whose face had gone white. He looked at Storm, whose ears had flattened against his skull. Victor Crane wasn't finished. The war had just begun. Marcus moved before the fear could paralyze him. Noah. Now. Get me Noah. His phone was already dialing. 3 rings. 4. Marcus, I was just about to call. He's coming for Emma. Crane sent me a photo of my cabin. He knows where we are. And Sarah pulled Emma against her chest, waking the child. What's happening? Emma's voice was thick with sleep. Mama. It's okay, baby. Everything's okay. It wasn't okay. Nothing was okay. Marcus, we've got the hospital surrounded. Noah's voice was tight with controlled urgency. Crane can't get within a mile of your location. You don't know him. He was special forces. He knows how to infiltrate. So do I. Trust me. The perimeter is locked down. Marcus looked at Storm. The dog was on his feet, hackles raised, staring at the door. Something's wrong. What do you mean? Storm growled, low and dangerous. My dog knows. Something's wrong. A sound in the hallway. Footsteps, too heavy for nurses. Wrong rhythm. Marcus grabbed Sarah's arm. Get Emma into the bathroom. Lock the door. Don't come out until I tell you. Marcus, now! Sarah scooped Emma from the bed and ran. The bathroom door clicked shut. The lock engaged. Marcus drew his weapon and positioned himself between the door and his family. His family. The word felt natural now. Right. The door burst open, not Crane. 2 men in hospital scrubs, but their movements betrayed them. Military. Trained. Crane's people. Marcus fired twice. The first man dropped. The second dove sideways, returning fire. Bullets punched through the wall inches from Marcus's head. Storm lunged. 70 pounds of fury hit the second man mid-center, driving him to the ground. Teeth found flesh. The man screamed. Marcus crossed the room in 3 strides and put him down with a strike to the temple. Clear. More footsteps in the hallway. Running. Shouting. FBI agents poured through the door, weapons drawn. Cole status. 2 hostiles neutralized. But Crane isn't here. This was a diversion. A diversion from what? Marcus's mind raced. Crane had sent these men knowing they would fail. Knowing the FBI would respond with overwhelming force. Knowing that attention would focus on the hospital room, which meant the real attack was happening somewhere else. The other survivors. Marcus grabbed the agent's arm. Where are they? Different floors. We spread them out for security. That was a mistake. Crane isn't after Emma. Not yet. He's after witnesses. The agent's face went pale. Maria. They ran. 3 floors up, chaos had already erupted. Gunfire echoed through corridors. Alarms blared. Hospital staff screamed and fled. Marcus reached Maria's room to find the door hanging off its hinges. Inside, 2 FBI agents lay dead. Maria was gone. No. The word came from somewhere deep. No, no, no. She was our key witness. The agent beside him was already on his radio calling for backup. Without her testimony, the case falls apart. Marcus slammed his fist against the wall. Crane knew. He always knew Maria was the threat. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. He answered. Hello, Marcus, came Victor Crane's voice, smooth and satisfied. Where is she? Somewhere safe, for now. Crane paused. I want to make a deal. I don't deal with monsters. Then Maria dies, and I disappear, and all those powerful people you've been building a case against go free. Another pause. Is your pride worth that much? Marcus closed his eyes. 31 survivors, 17 children, months of evidence gathering, years of crimes, all of it balanced on one woman's testimony. What do you want? I want the ledger, the original, not the copies your FBI friends have been passing around. Why, you know we've already documented everything. Because the original contains encryption keys, bank account access codes, transfer protocols. Crane's voice hardened. That ledger represents 15 years of work, connections that took decades to build. I want it back. And if I give it to you, then Maria lives, you get your witness, and I disappear. You'll never see me again. You expect me to believe that I expect you to understand survival. Marcus, I'm a businessman. Dead witnesses and revenge killings draw attention. Bad for business. I cut my losses, I rebuild elsewhere, I start over. Crane's tone shifted. But if you refuse, Maria dies. Slowly. And then I come for your little family. The mother, The daughter. The dog. Everyone you care about gone. Marcus felt the weight of impossible choices pressing down on him. Where, eager aren't we? Crane gave coordinates. 1 hour. Come alone. No FBI. No backup. Just you and the ledger. How do I know Maria's still alive? A shuffling sound. Then Maria's voice strained and terrified. Marcus, don't do it. Don't give him. The line went dead. Marcus stood motionless in the ruined hospital room. Noah arrived 30 seconds later, breathless. We lost her. 3 men, professional extraction. They knew exactly where to hit. I know where she is. What, how? Marcus told him about the call. The demands, the coordinates. You can't go alone. That's suicide. If I don't, Maria dies. And Harker walks, and every one of those powerful bastards goes free. We can trace the location. Send a tactical team. He'll see them coming. He'll kill her and disappear. Marcus met Noah's eyes. I have to do this. Marcus, I'm not asking permission. They stared at each other. At least let me track you. GPS beacon, audio relay. If things go wrong, you get there fast. Marcus checked his weapon. And you make sure Sarah and Emma are safe, no matter what. I promise. Marcus headed for the door. Cole, Noah's voice stopped him. For what it's worth, you're the best man I've ever served with. I'm proud to call you my brother. Marcus nodded once. Then he was gone. The coordinates led to an abandoned sawmill 15 miles outside town. Marcus arrived with 20 minutes to spare, his truck kicking up gravel as he pulled into the empty lot. Storm sat in the passenger seat, whining. I know, boy. I know. He reached over and scratched behind the dog's scarred ear. I need you to stay here this time. Watch the truck. If I don't come back in 1 hour, you go find Noah. Understand? Storm's dark eyes held his. The dog whined again, but didn't move. Marcus climbed out. He approached the sawmill, slowly, weapon-holstered hands visible. A folder tucked under his arm, the original ledger Noah had reluctantly provided. Crane, his voice echoed off corrugated metal. Right on time. Crane emerged from shadows, dragging Maria by her bound wrists, a pistol pressed against her temple. Do you have it? Let me see her face. Prove she's unharmed. Crane yanked Maria upright. Her face was bruised but alert. Her eyes burned with defiance and terror. Satisfied. The ledger for Maria? Even trade. Almost. Crane smiled. First you put your weapon on the ground. That wasn't part of the deal. The deal has evolved. Crane pressed the gun harder against Maria's head. Weapon. Ground. Now. Marcus slowly drew his Sig Sauer and placed it in the dirt. Kick it away. He kicked it. Good. Now the folder. Marcus held up the ledger. This comes to me when Maria crosses halfway. Crane considered, then nodded. Maria. Walk. He shoved her forward. Maria stumbled, caught herself, began walking toward Marcus. Her bound hands made balance difficult. 20 feet. 15. 10. The folder. Crane's voice cut sharp. Marcus tossed it. The folder landed at Crane's feet. Maria reached him. Go. Marcus pointed toward his truck. Storm's in there. He'll protect you. What about you? Go. Maria ran. Crane opened the folder, scanning pages. His expression darkened. This isn't everything. It's what the FBI has. Don't lie to me. Crane looked up, eyes cold. There are pages missing. The encryption keys. The access codes. Maybe they were never in the original. Maybe your people made copies before they handed it over. Or maybe you're trying to double-cross me. Maybe I am. Silence stretched between them. Then Crane laughed. I underestimated you, Marcus. A mistake I rarely make. He raised his weapon. Unfortunately, that means our deal is concluded. If you kill me, Noah brings a tactical team down on this location in minutes. By which time I'll be long gone. Again. Crane steadied his aim. Goodbye, Marcus. You were a worthy opponent. A shape exploded from the shadows. 70 pounds of German Shepherd hit Crane like a missile. The gun flew from his hand. Man and dog went down in a tangle of fur and fury. Storm had ignored the order. Storm had never ignored an order in 6 years of partnership. Until now. Marcus dove for his weapon. His fingers closed around the grip as Crane threw Storm aside. The dog yelped, but scrambled back to his feet, growling. Crane drew a backup piece from his ankle holster. 2 shots rang out simultaneously. Marcus felt fire tear through his left shoulder. He saw Crane stagger, blood blooming from his chest. Both men went down. Marcus rolled, fighting through pain weapon still gripped in his right hand. His vision swam. Blood pumped from his shoulder in steady waves. Crane crawled toward the dropped backup gun. Stay down! Marcus's voice came out wrong. Weak. Crane kept crawling. I said, stay down! Crane's fingers touched the gun. Marcus fired. The shot took Crane in the hand, shattering bone. The man screamed and collapsed. Marcus forced himself to his feet. Each step sent agony radiating through his body. He kicked the gun away and stood over Victor Crane. It's over. Crane laughed. Blood bubbled from his lips. Nothing is over. Kill me and someone else takes my place. The demand never stops. The buyers never stop. His eyes found Marcus's face. You think you won. You saved a handful of women. There are millions more. Millions. You didn't even scratch the surface. Maybe, but I scratched you. Sirens in the distance. Helicopter blades cutting air. Crane's laugh became a cough. You're bleeding out, hero. Better hope your friends get here fast. Marcus pressed his hand against his shoulder. Blood seeped through his fingers. Storm appeared at his side, pressing against his leg, whining with concern. Good boy. Marcus's voice was fading. Good boy. He sat down heavily. The world began to gray at the edges. The last thing he heard was Storm's frantic barking and the thunder of approaching helicopters. Then darkness swallowed everything. Marcus woke to white ceilings and steady beeping. Hospital. Again. He tried to move and groaned. His shoulder screamed in protest. Don't. Sarah's voice. Close. He turned his head. She sat beside his bed, holding his hand. Emma was curled in a chair nearby, asleep with Storm pressed against her. How long? 2 days. Sarah's eyes were red from crying. You almost died, Marcus. The bullet nicked an artery, if the medics had been 2 minutes later. But they weren't. Because your dog wouldn't leave you. He stood over your body and wouldn't let anyone approach until Noah calmed him down. Sarah's voice cracked. Storm saved your life. Marcus looked at the sleeping German Shepherd. He's been doing that for 6 years. Crane's in custody. Federal Prison Hospital. He's going to survive. Sarah's jaw tightened. Part of me wishes he hadn't. He'll face justice. Real justice. Trials. Testimony. The world will know what he did. Will it matter? He said others would take his place. Maybe. But every monster we stop, every network we expose, that's one less nightmare in the world. Marcus squeezed her hand. It matters, Sarah. It has to matter. She leaned forward and pressed her lips to his forehead. You matter. You stubborn, impossible, heroic man. You matter. The door opened. Noah entered, followed by Deputy Santos. He's awake. Noah's grin was enormous. About damn time. How do you feel? Santos asked. Like I got shot. Funny how that works. She pulled up a chair. We need to debrief you, but it can wait if you're not ready. I'm ready. What happened after I passed out? Noah took over. Crane was airlifted to a secure facility. Maria is in protective custody with her sons. Sheriff Bradley is cooperating fully. Turns out he kept meticulous records of every bribe he ever received. Senator Harker was arraigned yesterday. No bail. The other buyers. 13 arrests so far, with more coming. The International Task Force is coordinating with agencies in 6 countries. Noah's expression softened. You broke them, Marcus. The whole network is collapsing. Marcus let the information wash over him. 13 arrests. 6 countries. Networks collapsing. It's not enough. It's a start. Santos stood. We'll let you rest. The full debrief can wait until you're recovered. She left. Noah lingered. There's one more thing. He pulled out his phone. The FBI director wants to offer you a position. Task Force leader. Human Trafficking Division. You'd have resources authority, the full weight of federal law enforcement behind you. I'm not law enforcement. No. You're something better. You're the guy who walks into impossible situations and walks out with survivors. Noah set his phone on the bedside table. Think about it. He left. Sarah looked at Marcus. Are you considering it? I don't know. I don't know anything anymore. He looked at Emma, still sleeping peacefully. I just know I don't want to disappear again. Then don't. It's not that simple. Yes, it is. Sarah climbed onto the edge of his bed, careful of his shoulder. You have a choice, Marcus. You've always had a choice. Hide in a cabin waiting to die, or live, really live, with people who love you. You barely know me. I know enough. She took his face in her hands. I know you ran into a blizzard for a stranger. I know you faced down a monster to save people you'd never met. I know you held my daughter when she was falling apart and told her she was brave. Any decent person would have... No, not any decent person. You. Sarah's eyes held his with fierce intensity. You're the one who showed up, Marcus. You're the one Emma ran to in the darkness. You're the one God sent when we needed a miracle. I don't believe in miracles. Neither did I, until one kicked down a steel door and carried me out of hell. Marcus felt something crack inside his chest. The last wall. The final barrier. I'm scared. I know. I've lost everyone I ever loved. I know that too. What if I lose you? What if I lose Emma? What if you don't? Sarah pressed her forehead to his. What if you found us for a reason? What if all that pain, all that loss, what if it led you exactly where you needed to be? That's not how the world works. Maybe it is. Maybe we just don't see it until we're looking back. Sarah pulled away slightly. Marcus, I can't promise you forever. I can't promise nothing bad will ever happen, but I can promise you this: you will never be alone again. Not as long as Emma and I are breathing. A small voice interrupted. Me too. They turned. Emma was awake, watching them with sleep-blurred eyes. I promise too. She climbed off her chair and approached the bed. You're family now, Marcus. Family doesn't leave. Storm jumped up and laid his head on Marcus's leg, adding his own wordless promise. Marcus looked at the three of them. Woman, child, dog, his family. The word didn't feel strange anymore. It felt like home. Okay. Okay, what? Sarah asked. Okay, I'll stay. Okay, I'll try. Okay, I'll be whatever you need me to be. Marcus's voice broke slightly. Just don't give up on me when the nightmares come, when the darkness gets bad. Don't give up. Never. Sarah kissed him gently. Never, ever, ever. Emma crawled onto the bed, careful of his shoulder, and snuggled against his good side. I love you, Marcus. I love you too, kid. Storm's tail wagged against the hospital blanket. Outside, the sun was setting over the Cascade Mountains. Through the window, the peaks glowed gold and orange shadows stretching across valleys that had witnessed so much darkness. But inside that small hospital room, light had finally won. 6 months later, Marcus stood on the porch of an expanded cabin watching Emma chase Storm through fresh spring snow. Sarah appeared beside him, 2 cups of coffee in hand. She's getting faster. She's getting stronger, every day. Marcus took the offered cup. Her therapist says she's making remarkable progress. We all are. Marcus looked at the woman beside him. In 6 months, Sarah had transformed. The haunted shadows had faded from her eyes. The tension had left her shoulders. She laughed now. Easily. Often. Noah called this morning. Task force business. They want me in D.C. next week, briefing Congress on anti-trafficking protocols. Marcus shook his head. Me. Briefing Congress. You should be proud. I'm terrified. Good. That means you care. Sarah leaned against his shoulder. You've helped rescue 43 people since you took this position. 43 lives, Marcus. And there are thousands more still trapped. Then save them too. One at a time. As many as you can. Sarah turned his face toward hers. That's all anyone can do. That's all God asks of any of us. Marcus looked out at Emma and Storm tumbling together in the snow. I used to think I came to this mountain to die. And now I know I came here to live. He pulled Sarah close. I just needed a frozen little girl to show me how. Emma looked up and saw them watching. She waved frantically. Marcus, come play. Storm wants to show you his new trick. Storm barked in agreement. Marcus handed his coffee to Sarah. Duty calls. Go. I'll start dinner. He walked down the porch steps, feeling the crunch of snow beneath his boots, feeling the cold mountain air fill his lungs, feeling alive in a way he had forgotten was possible. Emma grabbed his hand. Watch this storm spin. The German shepherd spun in a perfect circle, then sat tail-wagging, clearly proud of himself. That's amazing. Marcus rubbed Storm's ears. When did he learn that? I taught him yesterday. He's really smart. He is. Marcus looked at his dog, his partner, his protector, his bridge back to the world of the living. He's the smartest dog I've ever known. Storm licked his hand. Emma tugged his arm. Will you teach me to track like you and Storm do? Track what? Anything. Animals. People. I want to learn how to find things. Her blue eyes shone with determination. I want to help people like you helped me. Marcus felt his heart swell. Okay. We start tomorrow. Really? Really? Emma threw her arms around his waist. Thank you, Marcus. For everything. For saving Mama. For staying with us. For being my family. He held her tight. Thank you, Emma. For finding me. For being brave. For not giving up. I told you God would send a warrior. You did. And he did. Marcus looked at the cabin where Sarah stood watching. At the mountains that had once been his prison and were now his sanctuary. At the dog, who had refused to let him die. At the child, who had walked through a blizzard on faith alone. Yeah, he said softly. I guess he did. That night after dinner, after Emma's bedtime story, After Storm had settled in his spot by the fire, Marcus sat on the porch alone. The stars were brilliant overhead, the same stars that had watched over his brother's death, his wife's passing, his own slow descent into darkness. But tonight, they felt different. Not cold and indifferent, but watchful, patient, as if they had been waiting for him to find his way back. He pulled out Tyler's challenge coin, Emma's challenge coin now, and turned it over in his fingers. "I kept my promise, Tyler." His voice was a whisper. "I finally kept a promise." The door opened behind him. Sarah wrapped a blanket around his shoulders and sat beside him. Neither spoke. They didn't need to. The silence between them was not empty. It was full of healing, full of hope, full of a future neither had dared to imagine. Far away in federal prison, Victor Crane awaited trial. Across the country, trafficking networks crumbled under the weight of investigations Marcus had helped launch. Around the world, 43 survivors were rebuilding their lives because one broken soldier had chosen to fight instead of fade. And on a mountain in the Cascades, a family forged in fire and snow grew stronger with each passing day. Marcus Cole had come to this place seeking an end. Instead, he found a beginning. He found purpose in protection. He found healing in connection. He found love in the most unexpected places. And he found that sometimes the greatest victories don't come from defeating enemies. They come from saving what matters. They come from choosing hope over despair. They come from answering a frozen child's desperate prayer. "Please save my mom." He had saved her. He had saved them all. And in doing so, he had finally saved himself. This is not just a story about rescue. This is a story about redemption, about how broken people can build something beautiful from their shattered pieces, about how one act of courage can ripple outward, touching lives in ways we never see. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs hope, because somewhere tonight there is a child crying out in the darkness. Somewhere tonight there is a mother praying for a miracle. Somewhere tonight there is a warrior who has forgotten his purpose. And maybe, just maybe, your kindness, your courage, your willingness to show up when it matters will be the answer to someone's prayer. Be the warrior. Be the miracle. Be the one who doesn't hesitate when a frozen child cries out for help. The world needs more Marcus Coles. The world needs you. God bless you and protect your family. Always.